Live streaming is on.
Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter and I will be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunthangar Video Hangouts. If you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can be part of the show or watch the show. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. However, you must be a registered Stunthangar Forum member to find the link to attend the after party. And sometimes the after party is better than the live stream. So you want to make sure you are here at the live show so you can get in. Now, here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthangar Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. Now, if you're not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF, which is, Sunset, Mike, and Foxtrot. Now, you must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunthangar will not approve you. Now, if you are inclined to not come in and just enjoy watching us on YouTube, wonderful. Please enter your questions or comments in the chat box, and I'll do my best to make your comments a part of the show. Now, understand, sometimes I can't get a word in myself, so be patient. I will ask our illustrious panel your question or state your comment. Now, if you find the Stunthangar Video Hangouts or the many building videos that Sparky does on this platform informative and enjoyable, please give us a thumbs up. It's called a like. And please also consider subscribing and share the videos. That helps the channel grow. Please also consider joining our YouTube channel memberships, which start at $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. And your support helps offset some of the costs of running Stunthangar. Now, with your memberships, you'll get special badges I can see on the YouTube chat and unlimited replay of member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. You can also use the super chat, which is located at the bottom of the chat box, to make donations. Now, that chat box is only available during a live program, so I hope you have a heart for what we do and want to donate. And if you want to do it that way, you need to pay attention to when we do these live streams. So that's when the super chat, it will be made available to you to donate. So I also want to ask, please keep the conversations family room friendly. In other words, please don't use words you wouldn't say around your children and grandchildren. And without any further ado, I'm going to post a link at stunthangarforum.com. So here we go. I have two monitors and I have someone knocking at the door already. Fantastic. So let me get this going here. And looks like we have Mike Lonke, because I like Charles, but you don't have to enjoy the show. And he has some laughing faces, emojis, that kind of stuff. Fantastic, Mike. Thank you very much. Let me let Tryon in. Hey, Tryon.
Oh my God, my sound is here to a maximum and just about busts my eardrum.
Scared. I said hi, Tryon.
I go, ah!
So was he playing some rock and roll music earlier? Is that why it was so high?
No. It's just I think I was the difference between the sounds from the headphones versus just the speakers on there. It's pretty big.
Hey, Sparky, how's it going?
It's not Sparky. This is Charles.
Hey, well, thanks for the compliment. I'm not Sparky, but thanks for the compliment. Hi, what's your son's name?
Alex. He's going to bed.
All right. Hey, good night, Alex.
He said good night. Good night, Charles.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Ah.
So what you been up to?
Oh, not a whole lot. I spent the weekend with Mark Lunan.
Oh,
Lumen.
fantastic.
Yeah. We finished his. I better let him talk about it.
Okay. Oh, that's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
great. That's
Uh, I did some flying over the weekend. Just about. That's the only thing that happened. Um, it was kind of funny conditions, because we had almost no wind, and the 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 direction of the wind was all over the place, and it just you start with the wind down in this direction and in that direction. It would turn like 180 degrees during the flight, and
wow.
sometimes you think the window's over there, but as you fly through it, the plane is shaking, stuff like that, as you fly through it. And of course there was no wind over there, was a thermal over there.
Oh, wow.
So
Oh,
it just was all fake. Just you think you do some loops and it goes like, oh my god, this is so loose, so you just start to pedal back. It's just weird, just
wow. Yeah, that is weird. That is weird.
but
Thank
that
you,
being said,
Charles.
uh, I had the best square 8 of my life.
Really?
Area.
Fantastic.
It was just picture perfect. Nail that intersection, turn, just crisp. Everything is just same intersections. Everything was
Wow.
just like.
Now, and what
I
do
was
you
like,
attribute to that?
It just better, just inputs, correct inputs, right? Because
Perfect pilot.
no, I find myself that sometimes, when I don't want a wing over, I don't do like what I do in a score 8. In a scores usually. In a scores I just go bang.
Is on.
I just go bang neutral, bang neutral, bang neutral. In a reverse wing over, I kind of go softer, just kind of longer, instead of just waiting for it to come and just boom boom, and just have the plane turn and go. So, but yeah, when I do the square 8s, it's just much. You build your rhythm from the inside, and then you follow the same rhythm on the outsides. And yeah, it's just nothing is always perfect, but anyways. And
You must be
Tom,
talking about your square.
yeah,
Square 8s. Did you see it, Mark? Did you see the square
I
8s?
did. That was probably one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Well, it's great to have you confirm that. That's great. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Gary, what's up? Let me first say hi to Tom. I know Tom has a something I sent him. Let me
Yeah.
give you the big screen, Tom.
Thank you, Charles. It came today. So thank you
fantastic.
very much.
You're welcome. You're most welcome.
what's
bought
that?
my-
It's a
I
tracker
bought
for
my-
your wife to know where you are at.
No, it's the spinner that
Oh.
Charles sent me.
Nice.
You want to show it off a little bit? It's a
I
nice
have to get a nut for my engine.
Okay.
But yeah, Charles gave me a big spinner for my 30 cc two blade spinner.
Yes.
Holy moly, that's a monster.
Yeah, it is a monster. It's 3.5 inches.
So thank you very much, Charles. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome, man. My pleasure.
Tom,
Yes.
I need your help.
Okay.
Okay, I've been using the codes that some are published and stuff like that for that accelerometer, and the readings are just crazy. They just don't make any sense. The readings that I get out of it. I'm getting 66,000 or something, on a rotation when it's zero rotation, no negative direction. It's just crazy stuff. And I did copy and paste the code basically, and what I need a code to read, just get the raw readings, no calculations, none of that stuff, right? Just the raw 16-bit output from the MPU 6050 on accelerometer and gyro.
Yeah, so is there a register that you can just interrogate to get that data?
Yes, yes, and I did change the registers to plus minus 6 Gs on accelerometer, and I left the gyro on 250 degrees per second max. That's which is a stock, and it just doesn't, give me some readings that just makes no sense.
Is it
That- that-
defined as an integer or as a double, or how is it defined? That
Let me pull it out.
it might be a problem with the way the variable is defined.
Uh-huh. They are longer floats.
Okay.
Okay. Looks like the outputs are long, and after you do the calculation, it's a float. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah. It reads in
so you
Excel
have
X,
positive
Y.
and negative numbers.
Here, let me share the screen with you. Is that okay? I mean, you guys are interested in seeing this, or?
Let's see how it goes. It's early in the show, so go ahead.
All right.
Let me say hi to John Miller while he has his mouth full, so he can't say anything. And hi, Mark. And hi, Gary.
Hi.
And I also want to say, hey, we're starting off very strong. We have 7 viewers, 8 likes, no 0 members yet. We need some more subscriptions, and we need some more chat revenue. So don't forget the super chat at the bottom of the box, and don't forget to join. Just hit the join button and make sure you hit the bell so you get all notifications. Doesn't cost anything to join. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It does cost $4.99 to join. Just to clarify that. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so these are the raw readings. They come out, as you can see here. Let me turn it on for you. Just a second. Okay, so basically this is the code. Let me know what you want to know. I'm going to start at the front with the variables. These are the readings from accelerometer, right?
Yeah.
These are the reading from the gyro. They are all long, and you can see here in the code here. It turns it summons the MPU, right? And it's looking at this register here, and after it's looking, is requesting the readings, right, from the MPU. That's just that, right? 6 registers, right? And this is the outputs, right? XLX, Y, and Z. And actually, this is what I need. I just need these raw numbers, right? But when I try to use this code, it gives me some crazy numbers. It's just silly. Oh, wait a second. Maybe I just don't need this. Oh, this is the this is the accelerometer readings, and this is for the gyro readings here. But I just don't know what I did wrong, Tom. I can send you this, and
Why don't you send it to me, and I'll take a look and see if I can figure out.
Yeah.
what's going on. So this was some code that you got from someone else.
Yeah, someone else that had the code over there, but it just reads some crazy stuff in here, so I don't know what the heck is going on.
My first guess would be that there's something wrong with either a conversion or maybe you're do you have both positive and negative accelerometer values on each register?
You guys, I'm going to interrupt
Okay.
Yeah, I think you guys should just do this some other time.
Yeah, okay.
That'd be wonderful if you guys did that.
All right.
We just starting the show, and I don't
Yeah,
want to lose too many
Just send it to me, Brian.
people. But has anybody done any flying? I know Tryon did some flying, and Mark, you said it was a pretty impressive square 8, right?
Yeah, it was actually. Thank you again, Tryon, for the weekend. It was really nice. You come over and I learned a lot. It's just I had planned to finish up my profile build, and as new builders go, so I'll do that in 2 days, no problem, right? Yeah. Anyway, long story short, I was pretty much getting close, and one of the biggest lessons I learned that is before you cover anything, and this would be a good tip for all our beginners out there too, me included. Before you cover anything, make sure you functional test everything.
Yeah.
Somebody, I don't know who, glued my adjustable lead outs as
Fire that guy.
Anyway, long story short, there's Romanian DNA in my airplane now. When we did surgery with a little bit of bloodletting and all this kind of stuff.
It was quite a bloody job.
Bloody job. But yeah, it was really good. And I'll say this too. I mean, Tryon obviously is electric engine whiz, but he's got lots of knowledge with IC stuff. Let me tell you. We were having some trouble, and we ended up down with that I have a tank issue and stuff like that. But he ended up took it on the maiden voyage, and it was exciting to see my really first all build. That I did pretty much everything except repair the things that I glued together. I know it was good, exciting to see. We had some question about my knee. I'll go ahead and tell the story, Tryon. Some question about my knee being ready to fly. So we're like, well, I just don't know, and things like that. And I did very graciously get to fly Tryon's airplane.
Wow.
I got a takeoff. And thank God he was in the circle with me because my knee was not ready. Actually flew, I don't know, maybe I probably got 6 or 7 good laps and done some loops. And he was telling me to extend the loops a little bit. And just, I stepped wrong and turned. And thank goodness that airplane is has alien DNA in it because I kind of lost the airplane, and anyway, long story short, it all worked out good, but we found out my knee is not ready.
Okay.
Not ready to be. But yeah, really good week. And on the other side of that, I mean, he's a pretty good pool player, right?
Oh, wow.
Me?
Yeah, I love pool. I love shooting pool myself.
Yeah. I think we ended up pretty even. We'll leave it at that.
All right.
Well, yeah, it was a very even match. That was a very even match. Yes.
Very, very good.
But I will say too, just watching that aircraft and its corners and that one square 8, like we was talking about, it was almost if it was drawn in the sky and it was on a rail with 90-degree turns. It just among the other things, it's just I don't know. It's an amazing thing to watch, and it was I was very impressed with everything, and the weight of that thing and the carbon, and But anyway, that's enough about that. It was a good weekend, and I really appreciate the help, and I'm sure we're gonna fly again soon.
You're welcome.
When my knee can.
Anytime.
Fantastic. So let me say hi to Jim Smith and hi to Peter. And hi to Mike.
Charles.
Thanks for coming in, you guys. And hi, John Miller. Thanks for coming in. Now that you can talk.
Not enough popcorn.
Yeah, I know. I didn't make popcorn either. I got just little small bags of popcorn to munch on.
Hey, I was going to give you guys an update. I can't stay open long.
Okay.
I got invoicing. but I am gonna be ordering. I got Train's order for Easy Composites for the plain cloth, and we're already over 300 pounds, I think.
Oh, great.
It's kind
Fantastic.
of it's kind of a weird website, to put it mildly. But after I get done invoicing tomorrow, I'm gonna email them and see about putting the order in, and I'll let you guys know what happens. And I
Hey,
was gonna
Jim, I'll put my email.
yeah.
Sorry, Mark Lehman. I'll put my email in the chat box, Jim.
Okay. Why don't you send it to stuntflying@gmail.com?
Okay.
I'm on an iPad.
Stunt
So, is
flying at
anything
Gmail.
new
Got
about
it.
your tracer behind you that we might
This,
want to know about?
well, this is the only tracer I have left, other than the new ones I'm working on. And this one, it's really kind of been relegated to a practice ship because it was the one that came out of like 80 ounces. It's a retract ship. Looks a little different than the other one. Here's the other one over here. I just put on the
Nice.
the Suave hairspray, and then I just put in the first coat of finishing resin. So I'll do some superfill, and then I volunteered. Howard talked me into volunteering to go to the Nats this year and do some work. So I called Dave Tribble. So they'll have me do something. So I'm going to take this one up there just to practice when I'm not working. Wayne and Kathy can't go, so Kathy's got a bad mom, and Wayne's going through some Medicare protocols he's got to get double knee replacement, Mark. So that's not going to be pretty. So I don't know what's going to happen to
prayers to him,
KOI.
boy.
Hey, and we were talking the other night about Les McDonald's last stiletto.
Yeah.
I actually saw Les today. I went to the interment for Bill Rich, and Les came and tapped me on the shoulder, and he's living up in Citrus Springs now, and he volunteered to do some judging for us at King Orange. So, but he says Randy Smith has that last stiletto he did, and it's actually smaller than the other ones. It's smaller than the 660, and it's a I-beamer. But he's doing good, and his wife Roberta's doing good. And they're glad they got out of Miami. So, let me think, because I don't think there's anything else I really need to talk about.
All right. Well, thank
Hey,
you, Jim.
Jim, which one of his stilettos did he crash into a chair at VSC?
I have no idea. I'll have to ask him, John.
Well, I think that was a larger one than the others, if I remember correctly.
Well, he told me there were two different kinds. There were the 660, and then there was this last one, which was a smaller. I don't know, it was probably like 640 or something. And however he built the first ones, he didn't build the last one the same. The last one's an I-beamer. So.
Okay, well, I just wondered.
Mark, did you get my email address all right?
Yes, I did. I'm emailing you now, actually.
Okay, yeah, just include your address on there and whatever it is you want to order. And I'll see what we come up to with they got some weird pricing on that website, I'll tell you that. You look at the price on the first page, you go to the next page and it has a EX period VAT, and then the price is different than you looked at on the first page. So it's just hard to make heads or tails of it, but I believe we're over 300 pounds now. So,
$300 or 300 pounds?
Currency.
Pound sterling.
Oh, pound sterling. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey,
guys.
Walter.
It's the whole Brexit thing or whatever.
Hey,
Oh, well,
how you guys doing tonight?
yeah.
Doing
Good,
great.
Walter.
He got a little announcement for the group here.
All right.
He might be
You're
Brett
pregnant?
Williams might be on the no. Brett Williams might be on the what is it, the other feed, but I talked to him today, and he's recuperating from COVID. He's been down. He said it's been really rough, and he's a younger man. I mean, he's a young man.
Yeah,
But he said
sent
it's
me an
been
email
tough.
today.
But oh, did he?
Yeah, he was curious. He read the thing. I guess he comes and watches a lot, and he saw we were bulk ordering something, so he had me reply to him and whoever all he works with what we were ordering. So I haven't heard anything from him yet, but
Tom, I sent it.
Okay.
no, I got yours, Trey. You talking to me?
No, Tom.
Oh,
I sent him a little code.
Well,
So, John, did you talk about Brett Buck or Brett Williams?
Williams.
Brett Williams.
Okay, I don't know. Oh, Brent or Brett?
Brent.
Brent Williams. Okay.
Brent.
Yeah, he's on the chat box often. He's not there right now, but he comes in chat box often.
He says he gets real tired real quick. So
From when I had it, I certainly sympathize with him. That was one of the most surprising things out of that whole episode was the fatigue. Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah, that's what people say, and
Yeah, just amazing.
my Kathy's mom, she's 92 years old, fell down and broke her ankle, compound fracture.
No.
And when she went into the hospital, the first thing she got was COVID-19. So they had to send her to some facility, and it didn't even bother her. But she's mean as hell.
She's watching tonight, you know.
Yeah. Well, she knows I think she's mean. She just, when you get 92, you get a little cranky. You know what I mean?
It's a term of endearment at some point.
Yeah, my mother
yes, it
was
is.
78.
But 92, it's not going to take any more stuff off people, you know? You don't got any time to wait.
No, you don't. That's right.
I'm not going to take any stuff off anybody. When I get 92, I'm going to be pretty...
You're going to be a curmudgeon.
Yeah, curmudgeon. Yeah, that's what I want to be, a curmudgeon.
All right.
My goal is to be Walter
curmudgeon?
Matthau.
That's what I'm trying to remember. What is a curmudgeon?
Yeah.
What is that?
Old man.
A what?
Is a curmudgeon is a cranky old man.
Cranky old man.
Oh,
A curmudgeon.
Well, I don't know if I'll be that cranky,
Oh yeah.
but I
You know
will.
those two guys in the
You'll be
Muppets.
cranky, believe me.
You know those two guys, those two Muppets in the Muppet thing. Two old guys are always up in the balcony seats there.
oh, I remember them.
They're curmudgeons.
Okay. So I see your plane, Peter. Looks like it's coming along. And Mike is hated,
His
but
mic's up.
he's
Looks pretty good.
he's building.
What's he working on?
Mike is
Something.
buffing over there.
Always.
Pathfinder LE last time.
He's polishing
talked
stuff
about it.
over there.
I hope he's working
They're
in
to
here.
Saginaw.
He's a Saginaw and Pathfinder LE is working on.
He's working on the bell crank.
Oh,
It looks like that's the Saginaw.
Yeah, because the wing is glued in the fuselage of the LE, right?
Right.
oh, the Saginaw 3.
Yeah. I've got to run a line from where my internet comes in to the house. I got to run a line clear across the other side of the house to get into my shop. I can't hardly get a picture out of there on the Wi-Fi. I don't know if I
Buy
can
an
get it more powerful.
extender.
Huh?
Buy an extender.
Well, I don't know much about hooking up a Wi-Fi. I only work with the ones that come with it, you know. the one I'm on right now is a direct connect, so there's no Wi-Fi going between here and there.
Well,
Get
that's
a Wi-Fi extender and put it as close or as far away as you can from the regular Wi-Fi, and then that should give you a jump to the wherever you need to be.
Now, is that
Yep.
hooked together with a cable?
No,
No.
Wi-Fi extender is all wireless.
wireless.
See,
Wire.
he's straight Ethernet right here he is now. That'll be the fastest.
That don't matter.
Hey,
Well,
John,
I know, but
his
if you got
modem-
Ethernet,
His modem should be connected to a router which is wireless.
yeah,
It is.
he could
It
do
is.
wireless, but he's already wired. Is what I'm saying.
But see, I want to go to another computer in my shop, which is about maybe 50, 60 feet away. I've got to run an Ethernet cable there. What you got to say, Mike?
so John, I have the same problem. My modem is all the way on the other side of my house from my shop. Okay.
Okay.
So I bought one of these little, let me see if I can get it on camera right there. That's a little Netgear booster. It's a Wi-Fi booster at about $39.
It's a Wi-Fi extender.
Wi-Fi extender. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Wi-Fi extender. I plugged it. That's in my laundry room. So because in my house I get pretty good Wi-Fi around the house, but when I go out to the shop, I get nothing when I'm out in the garages.
Mm-hmm.
So I put this Wi-Fi extender in my laundry room, which is right outside my shop, and then I get full, strong strength signal.
Really?
Because the problem is the more walls it has to pass through, the harder it gets to be. But
particularly if they're masonry walls. Like I've got one out here.
correct.
It just plugs into an outlet and it just
You plug it. You got to slave it. I mean, you got to set it up. You got to program it, and you got to go. You got to push a button on your modem, and then you got to push a button on this. But it's Netgear Wi-Fi extender. They're like $30 or $40, and
I'll order one.
It'll extend the range. You can buy it at Walmart or Best Buy or any of those places.
I got mine on Amazon. I think
Amazon will do it.
$20.
But that's
not a Netgear, but
my laundry room is the farthest place away from my modem, and that's why I was having problems in my garage sometimes, because it would work sometimes and not work. But as soon as I put that extender in, I have no issues on any of the devices that I'm on the show with. So
it actually will help anything in between as well.
Yeah.
Well,
if you're connected to that network, because it's a different network, you got to be on the whatever 5G, 0G extended network. You got to sign on to the extended net. You got to be on the
right. You have to get onto the extender.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it's fine. That's what I do. I got one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's another question for you. Does Wi-Fi come on the board, the motherboard itself?
Yeah. Well, I mean, depends on your computer, but normally most computers, at least just halfway new, it'll have Wi-Fi.
Well, this is one I built. This is one I built, and I got the motherboard about 4 years ago.
Yeah, it probably has Wi-Fi on it, but if you go to your,
you can buy that part, John. It's as a PCI
as
slot.
an add-on.
You can add it to your case.
Yeah, because I've been trying to use my laptop, and my laptop's on Windows 7, and I'm getting best usage out of my other computer's got Windows 10 on it. So, okay, but enough
adapters you can get that it's a USB device you plug into your computer as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
John, I just wanted to ask John, are you just trying to get two computers connected to your Ethernet network? That's wired?
I'd like to go wired because then I've got no problem, with it. It's stronger connection. But getting the Ethernet from here to there, I I don't know exactly how I'd route it. You know, I have to route down to the basement
Well,
and then.
with your luck and electricity, stay off the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just run it underneath the house, John. And then when you come, this is exactly what I did. The Ethernet is on the cable's on the other side of the house, the end of the house. My son, who's a low-level gamer, had to have the 5G. So I had a guy crawl under the house, run cable, Ethernet, and he stapled it up to the beams underneath. And then all he did was he came out one of the vents. Okay. He came out one of the vents, he popped a little hole in the corner of the vent, pushed the cable through. Then we put it in a tube underground for 25 feet, came up right into the garage, up and over the ceiling inside, up and over the walls inside. And now I've got Ethernet hardwired in my garage.
Yeah. Well, I'll figure something out, but I want to get it in there because I want to start doing this in the shop. You know.
Excuse me, guys. I got to mute.
So anyway, I appreciate your help, guys. I've got better ideas now.
Yeah, my router, John, to my back bedroom, I just ran a cable along the baseboard, put it down there by the carpet, an Ethernet cable, and then I just it's actually a masonry wall. I just drilled a hole through there and ran the Ethernet right into that, and then onto actually have a subnet. So I've got another router back in my bedroom, but it still hooks up to my main one. It's just called, a Netgear. And you have to connect to Netgear. But in your case, you could just run a Ethernet cable right in your router. If your room is close, is your garage close to where your
Well, I'm not in the garage. I'm not in the garage. I'm in a home that was built in 1911. And
but you have Ethernet right there. And you just, where's your shop at? Right behind you or something?
No, the shop is, I got a long.
Your room is close. Is your garage close to where your?
Well, I'm not in the garage. I got a long living room. I got 3 or 4 doorways I got to go through, and it's about, I'd say 35 to 50 foot route that I'd have to go to get there.
You probably just want to pay somebody to run it up in the attic.
That would be nice.
Do like what Walter did would be the proper way to do it.
Yeah, the only difference is I went under the house.
Yeah, well, he might be able to go into the house too. I don't know.
No, it'd be very difficult because the foundation for the original house is much smaller, and there've been like 3 upgrades in this house in its lifetime. So
okay,
there's some.
Somebody can run it up the wall, up into your attic, and run it through your attic right to where you need it. Drop it down and come out the wall.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think you ought to be getting up in the attic.
You don't think I could do it, do you? Neither do I.
You might be able to, but it might not turn out good either.
Yeah. I'll check and see if I can find an electrician.
Yeah, otherwise you can use an extender. Like they say, an extender will work. That's what I do in the garage rather than, and my router is just on the other side of the wall over there. So
well, I'll try the extender first, but my ultimate goal would be to hardwire it, get an Ethernet setup.
Yeah, I mean, a wired setup is faster, I believe, than any wireless. You always have some degradation with wireless.
It's faster, and I think it's more secure.
Yeah, well, yeah. You're going to have a password on your Wi-Fi anyway. If you
I do.
Yeah, so. But that
All right.
doesn't mean you can't have some hacker. All right. Hey, listen, guys, I got.
I've been hacked already.
Hey, Jim, thanks for coming in, Jim.
Good
No
night, Jim.
problem,
Yeah,
man.
Hey,
Jim.
Jim.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jim, you take care.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Thanks,
Hey,
Jim.
Philip. Somebody tell Philip I saw Les McDonald today. I know
Is
I
you
will.
know all about that.
Oh, rats. I'm here.
Well, he came to Bill Rich's interment, and he was telling me all about his stilettos. He's going to come judge for us at KOI. And
Well, I hope to be there. I talked to Randy today, and he does have number 12.
yes, he
And I asked him-
does.
And I asked, could I stop by and see him when I'm in Atlanta to go to Treyans? And he said yes. So I'm going to go by with my handy dandy all-purpose camera outfit, and I'm going to take some pictures. And he was telling me
That's-
some things about the plane that I didn't
It's-
know.
It's
not
it's
bigger.
yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
smaller. It's I-beam and it's smaller.
It's I-beam. It's smaller. The stab is larger, and it does have some clear enlargements to the stab, even more than the stab that you can't see in the pictures. So that was interesting. I did not know about any of
Yeah.
that. That wasn't on
Well-
there when I saw the plane. I saw it at Winston. Oh God, it's been 30 years. It's been more than 30 years ago. I can't remember that far. But he and
Well,
Vince
if you come to KOI, you can talk to the man himself.
I'm going to. I'll probably talk to him at the Nationals. He'll probably be at the Nats. I plan to come to that.
Yeah,
but
maybe he's living up in Citrus Springs. He moved out of Miami.
I don't
He
blame
couldn't,
him.
he couldn't take it anymore. About 3
The thing
years
about-
ago.
The thing about Miami, man, you come out of your hotel room 7:00 in the morning. 7:00 before you can get to the car, you're soaking wet. I don't get it. I don't know how people live like that. Anyway, humidity is just awful. But you take care of yourself, Jim.
All right.
Did you talk? Ordered those 5 sheets last week,
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
know about
I'm
that.
doing it. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And
All right.
we're
I forgot
we're
to
gonna I'm gonna email Easy Composites tomorrow when I get done with invoicing, and we already are over what I think is 300 British pounds sterling.
Good deal. Good deal.
All right, so
All right. You take care, and we'll see you.
All right,
Friday.
you guys have a good night.
All right.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Neither.
It's been a weird weekend.
How was that?
We had the whole family in. I thought I was going to finish my little airplane this weekend.
Right.
I haven't been to the shop.
Yeah.
I have not been in the shop. I had both my daughters in. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law came. We had my niece and great niece here. Then we had it was ooh.
All right. I know how life can get in the way of flying and building. I can.
Yeah.
definitely-
I went to. I got to tell y'all. I went to. I got off early Friday night because I was going to the flea market or the they called it a flea market Saturday morning in Raleigh, 2.5 hours away. So I got up early and I drive to Raleigh. Guys, I don't know what's happened to modeling, but there were no balsa airplanes there. That was the darndest collection of crashed foam airplanes I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Everybody wanting to sell absolute junk. I mean, this is a wing to a beaver. They're hard to find. Well, you ain't got nothing but the wing. What am I supposed to do with that?
Wow.
It was a mess. I've never seen 2.5 hours. Nobody knew what control line was. Nobody knew what modeling was. They just buy these foam things. And so I said, well, I stayed long enough to get a hot dog and a Pepsi, and I came home. That was a waste of time.
Oh, it's too bad.
Shame. Crying shame. Yeah, it was. It was a crying shame. I picked
You
up
talk-
4 zing.
Talk about the swap meet, Phil?
Yeah, it was not worth the time to think about.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, it was pitiful. But on the other hand, I got my wife interested in playing with the cricket, and I've got some nice numbers and letters and all the stuff to go on my. This is already weeded. I've got to do another set now. But I've got all this stuff to. Well, you can't even see this because I can barely see it. But
Okay.
we're getting there. We're getting there.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh man, I'm telling you. But did anybody do any flying this weekend? You did.
All right, Mike, tell us all about it.
I did. Well, first I want to apologize for you guys having to watch me wash dishes the last couple of shows in the beginning.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, I figured out that the show always starts right when we get done with supper, and if I don't do them that night, I got a big pile in the morning. So I'm changing my paradigm of my housework. I'm getting it done before the show, so I don't have to wake up to all that crap in the morning.
Very good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we did. So yesterday, Easter Sunday, the wife said she wanted to go to a park where she could hike and hang out by the water and stuff. Well, fortunately, one of the RC clubs we belong to is in a county park, and it has a river and hiking trails. And so Sam and I brought some free flight stuff out and a little bit of RC stuff and some half-A combat stuff. And we flew. Our first match did not end. Our first match of the year did not end well. It was a midair. We destroyed 2 airplanes. But we flew half-A combat. We flew some RC. We did some free flight hand catapult gliders. And then we moved down to the other end of the park where the RC car track is, and we ran our RC cars for about 2 hours. So we had a good day.
That is fantastic.
Sounds like you had a ball.
I flew Friday, but I didn't fly the weekend. If you considered Friday part of the weekend, I guess I did fly last week, but I said that earlier on Friday night.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do a little bit of RC cars, but my youngest daughter decided that she was bored watching me fly, and she wanted to go run the RC car. So I finally said, "What the heck? Go ahead."
Yeah,
it wasn't long before the guys were asking me to don't bring her anymore because she was dusting them with my RC-10.
She was good.
She's amazing. She's a black belt in karate and 2nd degree, and at the time she was like 12 years old. She was not into karate yet, but she had amazing hand-eye coordination even then. But the first time she got my RC-10 on the track, all she'd ever run was the frog. And she gets hold of the RC-10 and she's just blistering the guys with this RC-10. So from then on, it wasn't my RC-10. I was just the mechanic.
Do you still have that RC-10?
No, Lord, no.
I tell you, there's still guys out at our track that run vintage RC-10s, man, and they're great cars, man. They're great dirt track cars.
My car is at the local hobby shop on display.
Okay.
It's got a carbon fiber chassis, and all the parts are carbon fiber, and then it's a neat looking old car. But it's just every time I see that thing, I think, ooh, God! They're still competitive, and we still see them from time to time at the track. We just run the Traxxas / Ultimates, the 3S brushless motors. And they're bulletproof, man. They're tough as nails, man. You can drive them into the wall, over the jump, and flip them, and they're really, really hard to break. My grandson runs a Traxxas truck. It's a Ford truck. I've forgotten what it's called. But
does he have the Revo, the E-Revo?
I don't know. It's got a brushless motor in it. The first time he handed it to me at the track, I hit the gas and the thing threw Rooster's tail up 20 feet. Holy crap. I'm looking at the Rooster's tail and the truck's gone. What the heck? But it's a lot of fun.
Well, and that's the thing. On a 3S battery, they run crazy. But you can run a 4S in those things, man. And it's too much. It's uncontrollable on a dirt track with a 4S battery.
We blew the tires off of it one afternoon. That was ridiculous. It was amazing. But man, that thing hit the jump. I remember hitting this jump with my RC-10, and it would jump about 6 to 8 feet. Everybody else was going 2 to 4. This thing had to have gone 10. It was incredible.
I believe it.
It was landing just in time to lock the brakes up and slide into the turn and then make the next turn. I said, Michael, here, you take this. This is faster than the old guy can handle.
That's
Never admit that.
I'm putting a dozen RC car batteries in storage mode right now. I got
Yeah.
12 batteries for our 3 cars, and I'm got them all hooked up to the Thunder Power 4-port, putting them all in storage charge because I don't know when we're going to use them again. So that's
Yeah,
what
I
I've
know
been
what you
doing.
mean.
Yeah, just
All
put
right.
'em up.
Let's get back to airplanes, you guys.
We need to.
Oh,
we need to
sorry.
we need to get Trey in and this little rascal what owns a
Well,
little
we,
bit of
we are
grass.
talking about LiPo batteries, Charles. That counts.
Yeah, I know. And we was talking about RJ45 cable, which we need to watch this on YouTube. I know.
Oh,
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
What's that P38 behind you up there?
Man, Watt Moore just gave me that when I was down in South Carolina a couple of weeks ago. That's a Sterling P38.
I'd love to have that.
Yeah. So we went down to South Carolina for Watt's birthday.
88.
And
when was his birthday?
I don't know. It was 2 or 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weekends ago. We
Okay.
down there. And man, he was giving away the farm down there. He was passing out models to anybody that would take them. You know, he wants to, he's getting older, so he wants them to go to people that are going to use them. So we picked up that P38 because I got one that's ready to cover, but this one's already built. So I'm going to slap my motors on it and fly that one.
What size motors do you plan on putting on that?
I'm actually going to put a Norville 074s on it. I'm going to have to redo the motor mount because I think Watt had OS 10s or OS 15s on it. So I'm going to have to narrow the motor mounts up and put 074s on it. Because everyone I know that ever built one that put 15s on them said they were just nose heavy when the engine quit. So a pair of 74s will pull that thing just.
I'm sorry for laughing.
When you go to make your motor mounts, instead of doing all that work on moving the wood in and re-drilling, make your little metal plates and just bolt the metal plates where the 15s went, and then put the 74 in that. It's a lot less work.
Yeah, I'll figure something out.
I had 2 of them.
Take that in consideration, Phil, because I want to do it the easiest way possible.
Well, that's the easiest way I know of, and it works. I've got 2 or 3 done that way.
I don't think Watt flew that airplane a whole lot because, I mean, and I don't know when he built it. I don't know how old it is and when he built it. The covering's in great shape. The paint is in great shape. It's not oil soaked or anything like that. So, you know, and knowing Watt, he built it and flew it 2 or 3 times and then hung it back on the wall, you know.
Yeah.
So, and it's light. It's not crazy heavy or anything like that. It's the paint scheme is nice. So,
I had 2 of those.
We'll enjoy flying it for sure.
You had 2 of them, Walter?
Yeah, I did.
One for each end?
No. The first one I had 2 OS S, the S series.
Yeah.
25s on them. 20s.
Oh my God.
20s. And that was too fast. So the second one we put on Enya 09s, the one with the reverse exhaust. And I wasn't smart enough to reverse the needle. So every time I adjusted the needle, I got my fingers burned.
Well, I always thought that plane would perform just fine on like a big MiG 061 or something along that line. It's sized right. It's sized right for a twin 049 twin, actually.
I don't think an 049 has enough gusto, and I'm not sure
either.
The 061 would do it either, John. I mean, on the box it says for 09s to 15s, and I've seen a bunch of them fly with Fox 15s, and every one of them was just nose heavy as hell with Fox 15s. A pair of 09s, like Cox TD 09s, is optimum.
I think that'd work.
But I think the 074s is an even better deal because they're even lighter and more reliable than the
What's
09.
the wingspan?
Much. '74 is probably the best.
I think it's 30. I think it's 36 inches. It's got to be 36.
Because the baby Pathfinder's what 28 or something like that.
Yeah, but it's not. It's maybe 6 at the root, and then down to about 3.5 at the tip or something like that.
That's the baby Pathfinder 6 at the root, 6 at the tip.
Yeah, it's not real fat, but it's 3 foot. I think it's 3 foot just by looking at it. But it's a good example, and we're gonna hang some engines on it, and
It's a lot of fun.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
You tune those engines just right. The hum. Go watch the video on my website's down right now. But when you get a chance to go watch the video, you'll see them in there. There's 2 of them flying together.
Yeah, I have one other twin, Walter. I've got a Blackhawk Models Mosquito that I put 2 061s on. Now it's just a profile. It's a slab wing profile Blackhawk Models, but it's a twin. And I'll tell you what, that thing sounds cool as heck when it's running.
Yeah.
When they're in sync and they're going. And we fly that on 52-foot lines, believe it or not.
Oh my
Yeah, I believe
God.
it.
Well, I mean,
It's what we used to use. Yeah.
it's a 15. I mean, when you add them together, it's almost a 15. So it needs that,
When you look around, see if you can find the plans for the Blackhawk, which is a 049 TD 049 or 061 twin, and it's got like 40 some odd inches wingspan, and it's a stunner. Do the whole full pattern, not a problem. I keep threatening to build one of those because it's so. And he flew it on, I think somewhere 45 or 56 or something like that lines.
What was your Flanger Fluger?
This is my Panzerflug.
Yeah, that one.
That was set up for a pair of 15.
Easy for you to say.
This is why
It ain't easy to say.
means two flying Panthers. This is my Panzerflug. But anyway, it was 53 or 54 inch wingspan.
Don't you still have the plane?
Oh, I have the parts of it.
Oh, you crashed?
Well, I was flying it along. It was doing great, and I had a failure on the flap, the line from the bell crank to the flap at the flap horn, disconnected.
Ouch.
Yeah, and it went in at a small degree angle, but it still took out. It did some damage to the wing. The wing is repairable. The fuselage actually could be repaired. The stab elevators and all of that are okay. I'd have to build a new fuselage, but that's a minor thing. But also I had Brodex cut me out a short kit, laser cut it, and I have that sitting down there. I got a whole bunch of things lined up to build now that I'm getting that shop up and running, and some repair work to do. That orange plane back there, where is it?
Yeah, where is it?
I was going to say, John,
there it is.
Seeing things.
And what is
See it
that
back there?
Yeah, I see it. But what is it again?
That's the twin flight streak.
Okay.
That's the one that's about 80-inch wingspan.
You want to?
It's a big wing.
It's how big?
About an 80-inch wingspan.
Show
No,
it,
no,
John.
no.
Show it.
Just a minute.
What's the matter, man?
You're so loud.
Well, you told me to put the earphones on. Now I'm too loud. She got me earphones. Earbuds.
Ooh, I see that,
Walter.
Mike. That's from the
Walter, I had a
that's when you and your
Shut
son
up.
flying together, huh? Wow.
There it goes.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, that thing's a monster.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch,
Ouch.
for sure.
That what he bumped into was the rear door.
No, I bumped into the ceiling here.
See, that's how big it is. He hit the
Well,
ceiling.
that is a monster.
It's got its. I'll have to step back here. I don't know how this is going to work. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, I can't see it. That's weird. Sometimes it comes up. And sometimes it don't.
Here's my big belly.
Woohoo, sexy.
I didn't know John was even trying to join the Belly Brothers, but I'm a doggone. I'm a card.
What? No, that's an airplane.
Oh.
Well, okay. It's a little bit taller than I am, and I'm 6'1".
Wow.
There's a picture in one of the magazines, and
Yeah, of him
the
holding it.
tip is bigger than him, I believe.
Well, it is. It's bigger than I am.
Wow.
I
You
can
had-
cut kids to that.
You haven't
And
fixed that thing yet?
flew.
Gosh.
It flies amazingly decent.
Yeah, I've flown one. A guy I used to fly with let me fly his twin flight streak, and it did fly nice, but it pulled my arm off. My goodness, it had
That was the problem I had.
two S25s on it.
Well, the problem with a lot of people with twins is they don't set up their thrusts right, and it shouldn't pull that hard. It's like the Pathfinder LE has a nice, easy, secure, light, but secure feeling on the handle at any point in the hemisphere. And others set up and they pull like hell here. They get really light up here. And,
Right.
you know, it's all a matter of how you set them up and how you trim
Oh, I
them.
agree. Oh, absolutely. Because I've had people question my my registration. I go, I must pull like a freight train. Go, no, it's very easy to fly. It's not doesn't pull that hard.
Mhm.
I have it adjusted so that it's comfortable to fly, even though it has an 81 on it and it's a big plane.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
It's very comfortable to fly.
Well, like Gordon's, his what's the name of
Can't
that?
see it.
His last twin was
Oh, is it too much?
Gemini,
Too
the
much?
Gemini twin.
Oh.
Beautiful airplane, but it had a wing about the same length as that twin flight streak, and but it was much wider on the cord at the root and at the tip. It was just a big wing. When he went in a wing over, it looked like a surfboard going over. It was huge.
That's
But
funny.
it flew beautifully. I mean, it had this ability when it came down, like coming down out of the reverse wing over, you come here, it looked like it stopped, turned, and flew off. I mean, it just had that visual presentation.
That's the way it's too much look to me.
Yeah. Well, both those planes pull your arm off.
Yeah.
But he learned a lot about trimming them out. And, you know, he had Ted Fancher fly the Gemini, and Ted got up about halfway through the pattern, and he was going like, oh, you know, like that. He'd come back, and he said, man, I think I got a foot difference between my arms.
Oh.
Yes, that's no
But
fun.
Ted, I bet
Planes
Ted
pulling
flew
like that
well.
hard.
No, you don't.
I bet Ted-
When you got to pull in that hard, it's hard to finesse the airplane.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're
And
just trying to
that's-
hang on.
That's why working with him on the Pathfinder LE, you know, he wanted it not only light, but he wanted it to trim out, and so he could finesse it. You know, so he wasn't fighting the pull all the time. And
Right.
that's the other reason too why the little Pathfinder twin flew so well, because it was set up to where you could finesse it. You know, that airplane just it flew at the right speed, and you gave it a control, and it just turned. It was like writing with a pencil in the sky. Crayon probably understands that, because that's what I understand the way his plane flies.
That's the way his plane flies.
Yeah. But it's all in the way it's trimmed out and the forces are lined up. It makes it do that. You don't
So
want
one thing I'm thinking is like if the plane pulls so hard, why not just slow it down? Why not fly it slower?
Well, yeah, that's a point. You can do that, but you can also play with your trim adjustments as well.
Here comes
But
Howard Rush.
isn't flying slower kind of the goal? Fly it as
Well,
slow as
yes.
possible. If I can read the book and do a square, that's a lot easier than going.
As long as you can maintain your lines and
Yes,
do it.
exactly.
Yeah, that's one of the things I understand was the big thing when Palmer and Aldrich and all those started coming with their designs was they were flying slower and they're using a 4.2 brake. And Palmer told me when he went to England that they're flying smaller airplanes and they're flying them fast and bigger engines. And that was kind of the way it was in the United States with J.C. Yates, Madman Yates, and all of that. He was known to fly at close to 100 miles an hour and do the stunt pattern. But when
Well, they called him Madman.
Bob Palmer got to England, they didn't believe that big airplane of his that T-Bird would fly well because he only had a 35 on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he flew it opened a lot of eyes. Same with Aldrich's plane. And so yeah, flying slow, but some of us have kind of gotten away from really slow. We fly at a set speed and try to get it to where every place in the hemisphere you're at that speed, going up, going down, going forwards, going backwards, and that's just another way of flying, Tran.
Yeah, but that same speed, yeah, everybody's shooting for the same speed, and actually, I think it's a good thing. But we're talking about a lap time here, right?
Right.
So, but if you can get away with a 5.6 second lap time instead of 5.1, that's a huge difference.
Oh, that is very huge.
I mean, you go from 5.1 to 5.6, and you're probably just looking like, I can read a book at the same time.
How about
As a matter of fact, I had one of the flights, I changed the prop of my plane, and I put a full flight on it. That was a 6 second lap time.
Yep.
And I could still fly the whole pattern with it. Just
A
quite
6
fine.
second lap time, you get a nice smooth pattern. If you can get a plane that you can trim out and fly it through the pattern. Many ships are too heavy to fly at that speed and do precision maneuvers.
Oh, are you going to start?
Yeah. Ask Mark, could I carve a pattern with a 6 second lap time?
Yeah.
Well, I believe you can.
Not a problem.
Look what your plane weighs and then how big the wing is. I believe entirely that you could probably fly it at closer to 70 seconds.
Now, I'm not sure if I can get that, but
yeah,
6 is definitely doable.
What's the weight on your plane?
58 and a
You're gonna
half.
laugh, guys.
Somewhere over there.
58 and a half. And how many square inches?
710.
Okay. The average 700 square inch stunner weighs anywhere from 60 to 80 ounces. And of course, the lighter ones, you can go slower. But when you got a 58 ounce stunner that's got 740 square inches, yeah, I think you could probably do a 7 second lap, maybe not in a windstorm, but
No, but actually, I slowed it down from 5. I was flying in the 5.3s before, and what I've done, I changed the battery position. I just pushed it more forward, so I have more forward CG, and everything just got better. But in the process, what happened is that I put a different propeller at the same time because the other one was chewed up, and when I flew it, it was a 6 second lap time. I was like, So I tried. I kind of nursed it easier at the beginning. I just kind of took it easy, wing over, kind of like that. Baby it, do a big loop, and then tighten up a smaller loop and a smaller loop until it got to the right size. And I said, "Well, we can do it," and then I flew it inverted, and I do outside loops. I did the same thing. You know, kind of like, okay, loops are fine, right? So then I started with the squares, with the baby corners, right? Just take it easy, and then tighten up the corners on the next square. And then I did another one with a much tighter squares, and I said, man, this plane can fly just fine in 6-second lap time. You just do everything, just not even worry about it.
There was a fellow when I was at the only Nats I ever went to was the 95 Nats at Tri-City there in Washington State. And there was a fellow there, his name was Dean, I forget his last name, but he had a pearlized green SV11. And he had a 60, a Stunthangar 60 on it. And that plane, he flew that plane at 6.3 second laps.
Wow.
Wow.
And I mean, he had the plane, it obviously wasn't very heavy compared to the others, but he had that thing, so it was trimmed out and it flew a very good pattern. But because he was so slow and amongst everybody else, he didn't really get the scores I thought he should have gotten. You know, that's one of the things you have to watch out for when you're flying in competition. If they think you fly at 5.8 or 5.6,
Well,
and you go out there and do a 6.3,
Yeah.
the
judges will definitely perceive it as sloppy flying or something or whatever, you know. Because, and I also noticed like they're also gonna if somebody would make big maneuvers, they will be deducted less points than someone that makes smaller maneuvers.
Yep.
Why?
Yeah,
that's true. It's just they just do it.
it just is.
I got clobbered on some big points over there, even though my maneuvers were nice and crisp. They were smaller than the other guys. The other guys put baby corners, huge maneuvers, and got the same score. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
And I had better shape. I know I had better shapes.
That's not
hard
fair.
to judge.
Yeah.
It's not fair because if you did the maneuver properly, okay, and you're within what you're supposed to be, then it doesn't matter if you were a little bigger or smaller or tighter. You did it properly.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I usually have nice defined shapes, okay? I have very nice defined shapes on my maneuvers, but I was just flying very small, okay? That's all. But I think I have a much better defined square where you can see the sides and the corners. You can see that flat flying, you know, versus like baby corners with a huge maneuvers at 50, 60 degrees, you know. And people are watching all the flights and say, you got it, no problem. But it's 1 point between me and the guy that in second place. I'm like, what the hell just happened here? You know,
well, shapes and intersections are the rule of the game.
I had good shapes, good intersection, but I was flying small. I was flying by about 30, 35 degrees.
You will get nailed pretty hard slow, and you're right. They can fly it too big, and they won't get nailed as hard. But you know, the concentration is to fly the tops at 45, the vertical intersections at 45, things like that. Yeah. If you do that and you carry the same precision that you were doing flying smaller, you will get really good scores. But
how do you explain
because
this?
I'm reevaluating my flying, and I think I brought them. I mean, my loops are too big now. Mark said that, so I need to bring them down a little bit. I think I'm flying a little bit too big now, but I think I made them round and stuff like that. So,
what's Walter? What's your question?
I flew a contest in it was happened to be North Carolina, and when I landed, I actually got everybody that was watching me applauded. Okay, and I'm not talking about a couple of people. Okay, everybody that was in that circle had to be 20 people. The guy that barely made his flight actually got more points than me, and his flight was crap. How do you explain that one other than favoritism?
Well, the thing is, when you're out there judging, it's not too bad if you only got 4 or 5 people you're judging, because you can pretty well hold consistency for 4 or 5 people. When you start getting 20 or 30 people, or like at the VSC, 80 people, you're maybe doing half of the flights until they got to 3 circles.
Right.
That's a long time to keep consistency. And as a judge, you may get a little sloppy. You don't mean to, but you might. So there is some sliding and ballooning that occurs. Actually, Howard should be the one commenting on this because he knows more about it than I do. But your question about favoritism, well, let me give you this one. I flew a contest where I outscored the guy that actually was favored to win and was the top guy there in that class.
Right.
I outscored him by about 20 or 30 points on the first round.
Right. But
On the second round, flying the same airplane at the in front of the same judges. Let me back up here. There was about 10 points difference between the 2 judges on the first flight. On the second flight, from the same judges, there was over 100 points difference between the 2. Now, the only thing I can think of is one, he might have grabbed the wrong score sheet instead of mine and gave some other lucky dog my score, and I got that other guy's score. Or there was just plain bias going there because the judge wanted this guy to win. He didn't like the fact that I was, ahead of him going in the first round. So, but that happens. Okay. I talked to Bob Hunt about this at one point in time, and he said, John, he says, those kind of things happen. Sometimes it's on purpose. Sometimes it's accidental. Sometimes it's due to the judges getting tired and or ballooning. So all you can do is what I complained about it when I was beginning. I learned that a lot of guys were coaching him. Says I learned that you practice until you can fly that pattern so good that you cannot be denied. And he's right. What? Can't be denied. In other words, if they judge you down on it, it's obvious that they're what they're doing. And he's right. He's right. It's a subjective event, and so we're judged on what the judge's personal feelings, what he saw, what he thinks he saw, what his personal bias. He might not like somebody goes out there in white pants. We don't know. That tries to get worked out of the system, but it happens. So it's just one of those things you go through the stunt career, sometimes getting bit, and being the bitee, and sometimes you get to be the biter.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, it's the way it is.
It's not fair. It's not fair. Hi, guys.
Well, nobody said it's fair. It's just the way it is sometimes.
It's not fair. I'm so looking, but it happens.
Yeah. The thing I've found is it usually evens itself out in the next couple of contests where you're flying.
Yeah. What I did when I was judging a contest, if at the end of the contest I say, well, overall, I think that guy flew the best, that guy was the second best, and that guy was the third best, and so on and so forth. If I see the same order in the score sheets, I'm happy.
Yeah, you did the job.
Yeah. And my theory of judging is score them from 0 to 10. This is my scoring system, right? I give a grade from 0 to 10, where a 4 it's a recognizable maneuver. A 5 has some decency to it, right? Some looks like looks more like it. A 6, I can just see some good stuff in it. 7, better put them on the same spot for a 7 and give me some bottoms, those 8, you have to be very good. Shape wise. 9, I'm asking for more stuff, right? And a 10 is a 10, right? So what I do with this course, and I look at the maneuver, it's about if I can barely recognize it, it's a 3, 4, and then I multiply the score by 3 and add 10 to it. So So because they have the 0 to 10 is 30 points, 3 points for each one, right? So whatever score I give it from 0 to 10, I'm considering that as a base score multiplied by 3 and add 10. So I do that usually, but by that, I'm pretty fair, I mean, if you want to get a 9 or a 10 or an 8.5 from me on a score, you better give me some quarters. You don't give me quarters, I'm not going to give it to you.
I like to judge, and this isn't necessarily the right way to do it either. I like to judge looking at it, and I watch for the good things, and I watch for the errors, especially the errors. And some errors cost you more. For instance, missing the intersections on a horizontal 8, every one of them, that's a pretty big error.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mike, you're into helicopters now? Let them finish their conversation, and then
I appreciate that.
Let them finish their conversation, and I'll address the helicopter thing with you, Steve. But let them finish.
Go ahead, John.
I forget where I was at.
You were on deducting because of errors, and you said because you are if you have given several bad intersections on a horizontal 8, it's a big error.
Well, yeah, and you have to think about what errors are worth.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be really attentive and real quick on your feet. But then after doing all that cutting it, I then put the impression. Did it impress me? Was he, and I might add a point or two back if he did something really impressive, like maybe hit all his bottoms dead on,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
you work backwards when you judge?
Yeah, but you know what? I have when I was judging, I had a problem with that idea. There are so many errors out there. You end up running out of points to the subtract.
Well,
sometimes
if they're flying that bad,
you got to be pretty bad. Yeah.
To me, it's much easier to look at overall, right?
But
where is this maneuver standing? Is it a 10, a 9, or a 10, or is just a?
But you're missing.
Where I barely recognize it, right?
But you're missing 3 points between each one of your.
No, I'm not because that's where I'm making a decision. I'm going like, is it really a 7? But he kind of kept the bottoms pretty even, stuff like that. Nah, I mean, yeah, I'm between 7. It's about 31, right? And then I'm thinking, is it a 31? It's a 30, or maybe a 33, somewhere over there. And then I make a quick decision over there, like, was 7-ish, but that's 7 from the other maneuver from the other guy. I think this one is just a little bit better, so I'm just going to bump it up a little bit. It doesn't mean like I give scores in increments of 3s. It doesn't matter.
But I mean, between 1 and 2, 1 would be 3 points plus 10, 13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2 would be 6.
Like I said, I do a determination over there. It's a 13 or maybe a 14 or maybe even 12.
Well, I've heard of people doing
I vary a little bit from there.
I've heard of people doing half points too.
Yeah, so whatever works for them. Yeah. But if I know it's between a 6 and a 7, then I know I'm sitting between a 31 and a 28. But where it's like kind of like, well, it's a silver. That one was like that, and I remember the previous flights and the previous what I've judged before, and I'm trying to be fair comparing to that,
Yeah.
But usually, not usually, all the competition that I have judged, If you look at the flights themselves, the guy who deserved to win won it.
Yeah, I see.
The guy that was in second was in second. The guy that was in third was in third, and so on and so forth. They were where they belong.
Well, that's the thing about judging. What we're talking about right here, Trent, is that's why it's all subjective.
Yeah. But I try to be also very correct when I give my scores. I was trying to be. I mean, I'm not like one of those. I will never give a 40 because I don't give a 40.
No, that's wrong.
That's bullshit. If somebody does something that you can't see any mistakes with it, then that's great. Just give it. Give it up, right?
The other thing is like an intermediate. A guy will say, "I don't give intermediates any more than 28 points."
Oh, I hate that.
Bullshit.
No, that is bullshit, because if an intermediate does a perfect landing,
I give him the points.
He should have 40 points for that landing.
Yeah.
Is Dennis on here? Is Dennis on here yet, John?
No, he's not.
No.
I would like Dennis to chime in on what you just said about intermediate and like that bracketing, like intermediate's not going to get the best points because they're intermediate.
Right.
Denny did not hold me back at the Nats the year I won intermediate in the Nats, like 4 years ago or something. I forget who the other judge was, but
Dennis, I know one was Walter Hicks.
Okay, Walter Hicks and Dennis. I think I won intermediate at the Nats with like a 540 or something like that. Like literally a 540. And there was a bunch of guys griping about it on Stunt Hangar about intermediates flying 540. That ain't possible, blah, blah, blah. And, Dennis came on here and defended it. He watched my flight and he was like, listen, you had a lot of good 35, 36, 37-point maneuvers, and we gave them to you.
Because you're a sandbagger, Mike.
Well, that's the same thing Walter Hicks told me. Walter Hicks and I are good friends, and he talked about your flight. He said, Mike Lonke, man, he flew really good with that P-40. He goes, I had to give him good points because he did really good.
Right. Well, and Steve, if you want to talk about sandbagging, we can talk about that a little bit, and I'll tell you what happened that year. Because this is a legitimate conversation that should be had. I'd been flying intermediate for 3 years, I think, at that point, and winning Huntersville, and always placing first at Huntersville, and whatever little local stuff we went to. But that third year of flying intermediate, I was always flying the same 3 or 4 or 5 guys at local contests. Are you really ready to move to advanced because you're the best intermediate pilot at a local contest with 4 guys? If you beat the same guy let me finish. If you beat the same 4 guys for 3 years, are you really ready to move up to the next level? So that year, I set a goal for myself to win the Nats and to win Brodax in intermediate, because then I'm going to fly against 15 guys at the Nats and 18 guys at Brodax that I don't ever get to fly against. If you beat the same 3 guys in your skill level for a few years, it doesn't mean anything. You don't really, let me finish. You don't really get a good sampling until you fly a bunch of guys from different parts of the country that you never get a chance to fly in. Yes, I hung around in intermediate probably a little longer than I should have, but I was only flying the same 3, 4, 5 guys at local contests.
You were flying worth the shit until that year. I seen you fly at Brodack and stuff. And the year that you won Brodack and won the Nats, you must have done a lot of practicing because your flying got so much better. I mean, everybody seen it that year when you went into Brodack. I mean, you were loaded for bear. I mean, you flew well and you won.
Right.
And even Dick said that. Dick's like, "Oh my God, did he come a long ways in a year?" But you weren't flying good enough at Brodack the year before to win the Nats. I hate to tell you that, but you weren't. You peaked. I mean, something clicked, and you flew well at Brodack. I mean, really good. And you flew good with more than one, because I forget you flew classic and Tampa and stuff like that. You flew all the planes well. It wasn't like, well, I finally got a good plane.
Right. So yes, there was a big jump in my learning curve and in my skill, but on the same token, I wasn't just gonna. They wanted to kick me up to advanced at Huntersville after I won intermediate like twice. You know, and that's 2 contests a year at Huntersville, a May contest and an October contest. Like I won it in May and I won it in October. They're like, oh, you got to go to advanced. And I'm like, no, it does. If I beat 4 guys, it's not a big enough sampling. I want, and that's why I laid back in intermediate, because I wanted to go to Brodak and win it. And I didn't win it the first year in Brodak. I did not. And I didn't win it the first year at the Nats in intermediate. It was my second year at Brodax and my second year in intermediate at the Nats that I won it. And then I made the decision to move to advanced. But this thing about just because you win a few local contests against 3 or 4 guys, you got to get booted up. That's all.
It's ridiculous.
Bull. That's bull. I'll keep it clean, Charles, because the stream.
No, it is bull.
This idea that because you're at a local contest and you keep winning it, you get booted. It's wrong. Unless you have a big enough sample selection and you're flying against a bunch of other guys in your skill class. So, and I don't know what happened at the Nats when I got like a 528 or a 530 from Dennis and Walter. And I mean, I did. I blew them all out of the water. And I'm sorry they weren't ready for it, but I was.
Yeah, it's the Nats. I mean, I
blew my butt off for the year before that and practiced and practiced and practiced. But I couldn't have gone to the Nats that year in advanced and done anything.
Yeah.
I'd have been a bottom feeder in advanced that year.
Well, that was like the first year in intermediate for Samantha. She crashed.
Hang on, Steve. Hang on. And let John go ahead. Go ahead, John. He was holding his hand up for a while.
Okay, just to jump in here, I agree with what Mike is saying. This idea of winning in a couple of classes or a couple of contests with a small amount of people, and they're the same people, is not a real reason to kick a person up. I myself have been flying advanced for 15 years. Okay, partly that's because I got in that accident. I don't have the dexterity. I can't. I need to get practiced up with my new coordination from the accident, and I haven't flown since the accident. So that's over half of that 15 years. But I'd gotten to the point where I started getting into the 500-point range. I still wasn't necessarily winning, but I was getting into the 500-point range. I was real happy about that. The last one at the Northwest Regionals, I flew a 528 and I won advanced. And so the next year I was going to fly. And then the next year, if I was still flying at that level, I was going to kick myself up. And that's when I got electrocuted and haven't flown much since then. I tried to fly at Brodax, but I had a problem. I didn't have a big enough tank in there to make it all the way through. And the sloping field there where they fly advanced behind the house, they're 6 foot on one side and nothing on the other, if you're trying to do level flight. Anyway, and I kind of kissed the ground on a loop, an inverted outside loop. So anyway, I agree with Mike says the point taken that there's inconsistencies. It's a subjective event. You just have to learn to live with it. And quite frankly, I agree with what Bob Hunt taught me. Keep practicing, keep flying. Don't give up and get good enough. They can't deny you.
Well, that's just like at the intermediate. The first time Samantha flew intermediate, she crashed on the wing over. She was the only junior. Guess who won? Intermediate as a junior.
Samantha.
Right. And then they said that she needs to move up because she won intermediate.
No.
You know?
Well, at the net,
and I'm like, no.
no,
When the next year she beat everybody, then I told her, now you move up because you were number one. But as a junior, if she would have won it again and lost to certain number of people in intermediate, I'd have said to her then, you're not moving into advanced if you can't beat all of the intermediate flyers.
there's a caveat there though, Steve. The Nats is the only competition where if you win a class, you have to move to the next class.
Right.
That doesn't mean she has to move to the next class at a local level or anything like that. You don't. The Nat, if you win at the Nat, regardless, if she's the only junior in intermediate and crashes her plane, she wins junior in intermediate at the Nat. She won. And the Nats is the only contest where she has to go to the next.
No, she didn't. Because she didn't win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because there's not a junior class in advanced, so.
Right. I understand. Not in advance. Yes.
Go ahead, Phil.
Just a whatever.
Let Phil contribute.
I got to turn my mic on first. Mike, you remember the guy in Atlanta that came from Texas? He's been flying 20 years as an advanced. He's never been to the Nationals, and he was bragging about it. He had a beautiful airplane, beautiful finish, and he flies, and he always wins. He never says he hadn't been beaten in like 10 years in advanced. And that guy needs to move up bad. He needs to move up, but he won't do it.
Oh, you're talking about
don't say a name. That guy I really think needs to move up. But somebody like y'all are talking about, that's ridiculous. Flying against local contest people. No. Till you go to the Nationals and fly against a diverse group, you don't really know how good you are. You just know you're the best in your little band of 4 or 5.
Are you talking about the guy in advanced, or are you talking the guy that was in intermediate flying a PA against Samuel in intermediate at Canton?
Was it a silver airplane that went?
I think that's who you're talking about. There was a guy in intermediate flying a PA, 60 size PA in intermediate.
That one burnt me. That one absolutely was wrong. But the one I was talking about was it was a 40 size airplane, and he was flying it in advanced, and he looked like an expert flyer. He was an expert flyer. But
right, Walter.
He says he hadn't lost in many years. Go ahead.
There was a local expert flyer that would go out and win a lot right from the North Carolina area. But when he went to the Nats, he dropped down to advanced. And
I hate that.
You know what he said? He said the same thing that Mike was saying. Well, I fly against this many people and I'm always beating them. So what he does is he knows he's good enough. So locally he steps it up and flies expert.
Well, it's at the Nationals, advanced is kind of different. If you look at advanced at the Nationals, it's just all the expert flies. Half of them fly at the advanced fly, the other half of the expert flyers fly in the open.
Yeah.
And it's the nature of the beast. If you go fly advanced at the Nationals, you're going to see all the expert flyers just doing. And most of them are just waiting to win advanced at the Nats to move up in open.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it is, I've done it. Guilty.
Yeah. Well, let me just add something too, Steve, to go back about me moving from intermediate to advanced. So I just looked. 2018 is when I won the Nats and Brodax, and I've been flying advanced since 2019. And I was just looking at some of my stuff. So since I moved to advanced, 2019 and 2020, the contests we attended in advanced, I placed in the top 3 in advanced at every contest I've gone to. King Orange, El Dorado, Baton Rouge, Huntersville, Canton, Georgia. I've been in the top 3. I have trophies for the last 7 contests in advance. I finished in the top 3. Does that mean I should move to expert?
That's up to you at this point.
No, John, it does. Hold on. It doesn't, because you know how many guys I flew against in advanced in the last 2 years?
I said it's up to you.
Three
It's up
guys,
to you if that's what
3
you want.
or 4 guys.
Right. That's why I was
3 or
joking
4
about.
guys.
I was joking about you being a sandbagger.
Okay.
You deserve, you know, that's, you know, that was a joke. It's like I said, you didn't fly good enough the year at Brodak to win. You didn't win.
No, I did. I came in second the first
Right.
year I was there. Yeah.
Right. And
I placed. I mean,
right, you placed. But I mean, the next year when you won Brodak, you were flying really well.
right. But I can
He
move
came-
that same argument to not moving out of intermediate to advanced for
Mike?
me not moving out of advanced to intermediate to expert. Yes, I've won and placed in expert, or I'm sorry, in advanced, but I'm flying against 3 or 4 guys.
Mike,
Same
If you went
Mike,
into Nats,
Mike,
then you
Mike,
need to
you
move to
misunderstood what I said, Mike. You misunderstood what I said. I said it's up to you. It's your choice whether you want to. You don't have to.
Right,
If you go in the Nats, you will have to.
right.
But
Well,
but you don't have to. It's up to you. If you feel that you are actually really flying that much better than the competition, and you're the good person I know you are, you can kick yourself up if you feel like you
Right.
can. But you don't have to.
right. Well, the way I feel about it, John, as an advanced flyer would be, I think my benchmark, because I'm only flying against 3 or 4 other guys at local contests, my benchmark personally would be to win advanced at the Nats.
Right.
If Brodak was still going on and I could beat 15 guys at Brodak's, then I would consider that a bar to move. But flying the same 3 or 4 guys in advance for the last 2 years and placing somewhere in them, winning sometimes, placing in the top 3, that doesn't necessarily mean I can just go to expert and expect.
No.
If I can fly against 15 or 20 advanced guys and come out in the top 3 or top 5, then I would consider, okay, maybe it's time to go.
So
I
just
understand.
because you win 1 Nats, you're going to bump yourself up?
Well, you have to at the Nats. I mean, that's the deal. If you
What,
win the
one
Nats,
contest, then you have to bump yourself up?
Yeah.
If you're
well,
flying,
at the
I didn't
Nats,
know
you
that.
fly at the
At
Nats
the
again,
Nats.
you can't fly that same level again. It doesn't mean that you can't fly. So if someone wins advanced at the Nats, it doesn't mean they have to go fly expert at local contests. They
oh, but
can
it does.
fly
Oh,
advanced.
yeah, they're supposed to.
It does. They're supposed to.
Well, see, that works all wrong then, because experts can enter advanced at the Nats and go fly.
That's
one
because
way.
experts
You can promote yourself.
experts aren't flying expert. They have no expert class at the Nats. They've got
Go
open
fly
class.
open.
That's why.
Go fly open.
That's why experts that don't want to fly open have to or can fly in advance. I don't like that, but that's the way it
I
is.
don't like it either. Go fly. If you're an expert, go fly open.
Well, but see, some of them know they don't have a chance, so they anyway.
But there used to be, the reason why they do that is because they got rid of the expert class.
Yes, I get it.
They combined expert and advanced together. So expert people are flying in expert, but they combined them.
Yeah. So
What were you going to say there, Charles?
You know, out here in California, the Golden State Stunt Championships, the open class or the expert class, excuse me, you have Paul Walker, you have Brett Buck, you have Dave Fitzgerald. I mean,
You used to have Ted Fancher.
Yeah, Ted
Fancher. You have Uncle Jimby.
We have a lot of great talent out here in California. So to me, the advanced class, we shouldn't be going up to expert. We should just make the advanced class just get really tough. where we just got to step it up. Right now, we have a guy, Dennis Nunez, who's been winning, and now he has a little bit more competition. There's a new guy who's came out of retirement that's flying. There's a new guy, Tim Justice, coming up, and we have some other guys. And I think out here in advance, we could have a really strong advanced class. And so I'm thinking, I told Dennis, don't go up, don't listen to them saying you're sandbagging or what have you. Just stay there in advance because we can make advance a kick-ass club, because expert is ruined. They got a lot of guys in expert in their Golden State Stunt Championship in the bottom tier. It's like no man's land. It's like a wasteland.
Bottom gun sucking.
Yeah, it's ruined because they pressured them probably to go to expert, and now they're there, but they're in the bottom rung, and you got so much. You have a down. Yeah, it's just like it's ridiculous.
Ask me how I know.
Advance, and I think we should just make advance a better niche than we have because we've been pushed to an expert over and over again. And now expert is so big, and it's only like the top guys are winning.
You're right, Charles.
Let's not repeat that and make advanced guys go to expert. Let's just stay in advance, and let's get expert guys to step up.
Stay there and be a true
Charles,
guy.
They tried and tried and tried. They recognized the need for what they call the master class.
Pro class.
But when they hold a contest with the master class or the pro class, when they have that, the guys don't show up. They don't get involved in it. So I guess they like having all these these scum sucking bottom feeders to beat. I don't know what the deal is. I know when I last flew at the Northwest Regionals, which is about close to the size of the Nationals now, like the Golden State, and I won advanced there. I was ready because I figured the competition that I had was very good. I was ready to go up the next year, but then, like I say, I had the accident. I'm no longer ready anymore. I'll go back, and when I start flying again, I'll start flying as advanced. And if I can get up to where I'm flying at that level, I'll go to the Nats. If I win, I'll automatically be kicked up to expert, and I'll just take my knocks. If I wind up with a scum-sucking bottom feeder, that's what I wind up with.
No offense, but knowing what you've been through, you should actually step down to intermediate and fly us at least a season. I had the same issue when I flew at the Brodak contest. Okay, I was disabled for 10 years. Didn't even touch a handle. I went there and everybody pushed me to fly. I said, you know what? I can barely stand up at times. But I did it. And you know what? They let me fly intermediate.
Good.
My talent is still there, but my disability hindered me a lot. And they said, if you win, then you go up. Right. And I'm like, oh, you're the contest guys. You're
next, Steve. Go ahead, Walter. I'm just letting Steve know you're next.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I think John, when he goes back to competition, should actually do a season in intermediate. Not because you're not capable, but because of your injury.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll let you have it in a second, Steve. I appreciate that, but I just wouldn't feel right doing that. I feel I'd rather be bottom man in advance at this point than to take away from somebody that's coming up, take away their chance to, be supreme in their class. So I'll take my bottom, what they call bottom, scum sucking bottom dweller. I'll take that. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Phil.
Yes, sir.
That Harbor Freight primer, you've used that, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you painted over it yet?
Yes, sir.
And
worked fine.
Did you clear it?
I'm about to.
Okay, what kind? Oh, you're going to use automotive clear?
Yeah, it's Spray Max, 1K clear acrylic.
You got the button in the bottom?
No, it's not epoxy.
Oh, it's not okay.
It's not two stage or anything. It's single stage, but it's $15 a can. Stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
But anyway, it seems to be
Do,
pretty good stuff.
I don't know. Do you have a cowl or anything like that you can test that on?
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot the cowl and the elevator ends tomorrow morning.
Because I got
And,
pictures on my phone, and John Paris just cleared his airplane, and primer spots came through all over on some of the parts.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No,
Well,
and
we'll
he
see
said
what
he
happens.
couldn't see anything until he cleared it, and he doesn't understand why it would come through with a clear. And the only thing I said is that it was so that he thinned his dope so much that he got penetration down through the color, because he put it on really thin. It went through the color into the primer, and then mixed the color and primer together. It didn't happen on all of the airplane, but he actually even had some of his carbon fiber show through.
Wow.
So I'm just wondering if he had it, it was too thin on the color.
Did he use retarder?
What was that?
Did he use retarder a lot in his dope? If he did, that'll cause a problem.
No,
That can definitely cause a problem.
He thought at first it was blushing, so then he did use retarder, and it didn't change. And so I'm kind of wondering. I'm gonna shoot this fuselage I have and hit it with clear dope and see before I use anymore, because I just about yesterday was going to start priming that one for Sam, but now I'm afraid to hit it with any primer till I figure out what's going on with that. If you just got the color so thin that.
Well, I'm going to shoot this in the next 2 days, so I'll let you know Friday how
All
it comes out.
Yeah,
it would have been sprayed this weekend, but I haven't even been in the shop. I went down there to get this.
Always do small parts first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So John says now he's going to repaint. I guess he's repainting his pieces where it did it, and then he's going to re-clear again. But
that's a shame, because John does a beautiful job.
It's a deal where I said make sure that you let this stuff, flash off and dry for before you hit it with clear, because otherwise, if it isn't real dry, that thinner will eat its way back through the color.
Well, the clears sometimes the clears are different a little bit, and they react. You have a lot more reaction with clears to clears in the thinner below than people want to believe. Clear is a whole different animal than the regular paint. Everybody says, "Oh, it's the same thing without the pigment," but
no, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not the same thing.
Not a bit.
For a second, you guys. I've been ignoring the chat box most of the show, so forgive me out there, Jeff. I'm sorry I didn't. So Jeff, he had said, "Hi, everybody. Hoping you come in later on." And then I said that'd be great. Mark Lumen said, "Need some show and tell." He had to sign up at Washington. And then Dwayne Martin says, "What's your average score, Mike?" I know you mentioned 520 or 540 at the Nats, but what's your average score?
No, it wasn't 540. I wish it was 540. My average scores in intermediate were in the 480s, 490s at local contests. The best I ever did was at the Nats and at Brodax, and I was above 500 there. But, I mean, you can't – that's the judges that day. I mean,
Yeah.
I could be at another contest where I was at 440s, It really it's what the judges say on that day. So everyone gets this idea in their head that an intermediate flyer that's in the high 490s or close to 500 should move to advance. That doesn't mean anything, man. It just means,
I agree.
It means the judges that day at that contest gave you 490 or 500. The judges that day at the Nats gave me 528 and 530. in intermediate. I was flying 470s in advanced in El Dorado last fall, which was enough for a second place. I wasn't busting 500 in advance. You can't put it in scores. Everyone wants to do this bracket.
Yeah.
Let's not go back to scoring and shit again. That's what
you're a 500 flyer.
For some show and tell.
That doesn't matter. That score doesn't matter. That's
right.
Well, Mike, I'm sorry, Mike. There was a gentleman's agreement that when you did 500, you would go you go up to an expert or something, and that was back in the day. But now that's crazy because now you have scores in the 600s. And
what if you got two judges?
Because there used to be like a 500 score club.
Charles, what if I go to a contest 600 miles west of my house to Oklahoma, and then I go to a contest 600 miles east of my house in North Carolina?
There's 100 points difference.
1,200 miles away, and one scoring me 440 and one scoring me 520. How do you say a score means you should move up?
Can anyone say computer scoring?
I'm just saying that before there was that understanding that when a person did 500, they'd go to. I don't agree with it. I'm just saying.
Stupid.
I've been told that because I was started to score over 500 points, and people were telling me you should go up to 5. You should go to expert, and I go, I don't feel I'm ready to go to expert.
Well, maybe that's the case where you're at in California. Yeah. I had my hand up earlier because I did want to circle back to the Nats in advance, and I don't mean to kick a dead horse here or anything, but I feel it needs to be talked about. And the Nats is the Nats, right? There is no expert and advanced. There's an advanced class, right? And then there's open, okay? And I get it. They at one time they had expert, they had advanced, and they had open. They ran all of them. I don't think advanced at the Nats is a clean event. I don't think it's a clean event. It's the only place in the country where you're an expert flyer and you get to drop down a class. It's not.
Everybody else is an expert flyer than Nats.
Hold on. It's not a clean event for the advanced flyers. The advanced flyers at the Nats do not have a fair shake at winning advanced at the Nats because it's not truly an advanced class when you have experts dropping down into the class. And I'm not trying to take anything away from your win last year or smite you or in any way besmirch.
Oh, it's fine. You're right about it.
What I'm saying is if you look at it scientifically, it is the one contest where an expert can drop down and fly against advanced flyers. So an expert has an advantage, and the advanced flyers are disadvantaged because they're flying against flyers with a higher skill level. So it is not a clean event for advanced flyers. It is not truly representative of advanced skill set because there are experts flying in that class. And that's all I'm saying. It is what it is. The Nats is what it is. And they combine those two. You're allowed to drop down and do it, but it's disparaging to advanced flyers.
But if you win it, you have to move. So if you're in advance for 20 years,
you're next, John.
20 years, it doesn't matter if you don't win. If you want to stay in advanced and never win for 20 years, I don't have a problem with that.
Go ahead, John.
The thing with Mike's summation of advanced class is pretty dead on. That's why at the Nats, if you win, you may be an expert flyer that's dropping down and you win. You now have to. I mean, if you go to the next Nats and you fly advanced again because there's no expert, they're going to laugh you off the field. You
can't.
A lot of peer pressure.
Once you win it, you can't go back.
Once you win it, you will have to fly open.
Right.
From then on. But the question was, what's your average score, say in advance? So you take all the contests, and each time you go to another contest, you now divide by that. So you got a total of, you got 10 contests you went to, and you got a total of 4,972 points. You divide that by 10, and that's your average. Then you, a month later, you go to another contest, and you get your total goes up to 4,937 divided by 11. That's your average. So what it is, it doesn't matter how many you're flying. It matters how many contests you go into and what your score is. It gives you the average score. And that's
that doesn't matter either, John. I shot trap. And guys played with averages all the time. You know what your average is. If you want to stay in a certain deal to shoot at the big shoot, you go to a couple contests and you drop a bird here, you drop a bird there, and it'll keep you where you want to be.
Not necessarily. You're not necessarily.
Steve, that's not a fair summation, Steve. That's not a fair summation. You're not an advanced flyer. You're not an advanced flyer. You don't have to go to the Nats and fly against experts in advanced. I mean, you don't have a dog in this hunt, Steve. You don't fly advanced. You don't have to go fly.
It works with all the classes, Mike. I'm telling you, if you did an average to put you in a class,
that's not what I was talking about. It's not what I was talking about. The question was asked, what is your average score? The whole reason for an average score is to try to get an idea of what your skill level is. Isn't necessarily to put you in a class, go up a class, go down a class. It's just what is your flying level at? Or what is your average flight level at? That's what it's all about. Now, that's all the point I was trying to make.
So who cares? I mean,
I do.
I do. I fly advanced, and I go to control line stunt contests and fly 9 freaking contests a year in advance. I care, and I care. That's one of the reasons I won't go fly advanced at the Nats, because I don't want to go fly against a bunch of freaking experts. I'm not going to spend a week's vacation to go and build a BOM model and build a $1,500, $1,800 model, spend 4 or 5 days at Muncie to go fly in a contest in my skill class where I got to go fly a bunch of experts that I have no chance of winning because it's already against advanced people.
When have you ever lost to an expert flying in advanced?
Never, but I would at the Nats.
I don't know. The last time they had an expert was
last year.
They flew expert last year at the Nats?
No.
No.
The last time an expert won the Nats was last year. And you know who won expert the year or won advanced the year before that? An expert. Joe
None
Daly.
of the guys were experts.
You know who won expert in 28 or won advanced in 2018? An expert. That's what I'm saying. It's a skill class.
No, they weren't experts. I'm telling you that Tryon isn't an expert.
He flies expert at a local level.
He flies expert at local level.
But you flew the year before. What did you fly there? Did you win the year before you flew? And you won last year? No.
No, because he got beat by Joe Daly in 20.
No, William DeMauro beat me.
DeMauro. You know how many times DeMauro flew in advance before he won? How many years he flew advanced? He's no expert either.
But does he fly expert locally?
I mean, John Paris is going to move up because he lost by a half a point, and he doesn't believe he really lost, and neither do I. It was given to Morrow, but I think Paris outflew him personally. But
half a point, man. I mean, half a point is so subjective, Steve. That's not even fair to say.
I don't think it was even that close, Mike.
That's not even fair to say to Tryon, man. Now you're disparaging the judges, man, because your buddy didn't win and Tryon did. Come on, man.
No, I didn't say Tryon. I said DeMauro. DeMauro
last year. DeMauro won it last year, and
Not last year, the year before.
Yeah, no, Demara didn't win it the year before. The year before was won by John.
Didn't you win last year?
He just passed away last year.
Didn't you win last year, Tryon?
I did last year, yes.
Right. So DeMauro won the year before that.
Yes.
DeMauro did not win last year. You won last year.
Yes.
Right.
But
Right.
DeMauro moved up to open. He flew open.
Last year. He did.
Yes.
And I seen all these people fly, and I watched a lot of them fly. And the reason why he didn't win before 2 years ago, he didn't fly well enough to win. And that's all there is to it. And I believe John Paris won it. But the year before that, when John Paris didn't win,
Are you
I
saying,
told John, I don't think you won it. I'm honest with him. I tell him the way it is. If he can be a friend or not.
saying in 2019? 2019 is when John got beat by Will DeMauro by half a point.
Yes. No, John beat Will DeMauro. What's his name? It's John
Paris?
No, not John Paris. John Paris was
John
not.
Cranfield won.
2018.
Don
John
Cranfield
Daly.
won it in 2018. Yes,
2018,
Don Cranfield.
John Daly won it.
It was Don Cranfield 2018, William DeMauro 2019, and 2020 it was me.
Oh, then Daly won even before that. Then.
I could
Yes,
look it up.
most
Will,
likely. Yeah.
Will had flown that. Will was in advance the first year Samantha ever flew at the Nats in beginner. That's how long he's been in advance, trying to win advance.
Yeah.
When you did win, it is what it is. By half a point.
Mike, with all honesty, I've been watching the people that flew advanced this year. You would give them a run for their money. You'd be in the top 10 easily in advance if you played, if you were over there. Seriously, I kid you not.
Who are you talking to?
You.
Oh shit!
If you flew advanced at the Nats, if you flew advanced at the Nats this year, knowing how the other guys are flying, you'd be in the top 10 easily.
Well, Tryon, we've spent a lot of time in the last 2 years going to contests together. We see each other at a lot of stuff. So, especially last fall, we were at 3 contests together last fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for the compliment. Thank you for.
I'm serious. I think you fly well enough to really give them a run for their money. You're going to make them more.
I don't want to go to the Nats and finish in the top 10 with 5 experts finishing in the top 5, man.
So who do you think your expert?
The quality of flying is not as high as anymore.
Who do you think's an expert in advance?
There's a bunch of them, man.
Well, name just 3 of them then. Out of the
Well, I can't off the top. I'd have to go
John
back.
Paris decides to come back at and fly advanced. I think he would be the favorite.
I'm not singling any expert out that flies advanced at the Nats. What you're missing the whole point of my point is, and I don't care because that's what they have to do. There is no expert class at the Nats, so they commingle them. The point of what I'm trying to say is, it's not a clean playing field for advanced flyers. There may be 5 experts in advanced. There might be 10 experts in advanced at the Nats. That is not a clean contest for advanced level flyers. You would never go to a local contest as an advanced flyer and get in there in expert. You just wouldn't do it. And I'm saying I don't think it's fair and clean for advanced flyers when experts can drop down at that one contest, the Nats, like supposed to be the number 1 guy in any event at your skill level, and you got to fly against guys that are in a skill level above you. That is
but are they?
I'm not naming names or saying anything. And again,
if them experts are only flying against 3 guys in a handful of contests and beating the same 3 guys for the last 10 years, does that
It's
really
not
make
always that way. That's not true. It's not like that. I've seen guys that should be flying expert that are still flying advanced, and they don't want to fly expert. I get it. I agree with Mike.
What contest was that at, Len?
I'm not going to mention names and go there. I'm not doing that.
The only other place I had expert, basically was there at Brodak.
You go look at the scores over the years and look at the contests and see who's won stuff and where they've been playing. Then you'll see.
And Len, I agree with you 100%. And Steve, I got to ask you, man.
You're next, John.
Why are you so adamant on this discussion when you don't fly the event?
Neither do you.
It doesn't.
You don't fly it either.
I fly advanced.
Not at the Nats.
And why don't I fly advanced?
It doesn't matter. That's the reason why I don't fly advanced, because I don't want to fly against a bunch of experts.
All right, John. Go ahead, John.
All right.
Go ahead, John.
Does anyone else see behind me in Steve's statement here? Can anyone else please? I mean, Steve, I'm dead serious here, man.
I'm dead serious too.
You don't fly the event. It doesn't bother you. It doesn't affect you at all. But it affects.
If I wanted to, I could.
It affects the people that fly the event. Okay.
Right. And when you win it, you will move up.
What Mike has talked about having a fair playing field, when the experts could move down, the only way it can be fair is those advanced want to stay advanced.
There is no more
to be able to move down to, say, intermediate. And those intermediates, that they should be able to move down to maybe beginner. And maybe the beginner should be able to move down to basic flight. Now, what does that leave the 4 guys that are really basic flight? Go ahead, Phil.
Well,
they used to years ago, we had a schedule that Tampa came up with, and it was your average flight. It was your average flight scores, and you had to do it just like John said. If you went to 6 contests this year, you took all your scores, you averaged them, and next year, whatever your average was last year, that was the range that you flew in. I was intermediate. Then the next year, the next year that I flew, I was supposed to move up to advanced. Well, I didn't move up. I didn't fly for about 5 years. So when I came back, I started back in advanced. But everything has changed in the meantime, because the guys that were flying advanced when I flew 5 years earlier are still flying advanced. And I'm trying to figure out, how does this work? Why are these guys still in advanced?
Exactly.
And I see Mike's point. I see both of his point. It makes no sense anymore. I don't know why they did away with expert. I didn't even realize they did until y'all were talking about it tonight. I just knew I hadn't seen it, but it looks like now it's beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then open. And open is just,
that's at the Nats.
Whatever. Yeah. But they really need to bring back expert, and then put Paul Walker and that crowd in the pro class or in the master class. I like the name master class better.
Well, no, have expert, and then have open.
Well, I mean, that'll work too.
They don't need to have a pro class or a master class at the Nats.
There needs to be a class between advanced and open.
Are you talking about a regular contest also?
No, at the Nats. Talking about the Nats.
At the Nats. They tried to bring it back several years ago. Randy Smith was a big proponent of it, bringing it back, and it died.
I would never fly in it. You know why? I want to fly against the best, and I want to try and beat them, and I don't care.
There you go.
That's fine. With the
I don't need to win any more trophies. I want to get better at this game. Exactly. The only way I'm going to get better is flying against the Paul Walkers and the Dave Fitzgeralds and all those guys. I may never win another trophy at those kind of contests, but I want to fly against those guys because they're the best.
Len,
Yep.
I've said this before on this show, and this is my solemn word and my solemn promise. If I ever move to expert at local contests, I will never drop down and enter advanced at the Nats. I'll go to open and be in last place. I will fly open and be in last place.
Sucker. Yeah. The thing is that if they did it at the Nats where they had beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert, and then open, you got your choice. I mean, you can be an intermediate and fly open. There's nothing that says you can't.
Right.
And there's nothing that says that if you fly open this year at the Nats, that you can't come back to the next year's Nats and fly intermediate, because that's a class you're in.
Yeah.
But the thing that we've lost sight of in this hobby or in Pampa idea is that it used to be, I remember expressly, when you're averaging 400 points in intermediate, you move up. When you're averaging 500 points or higher in advanced, you moved up. But that's not being done anymore, and possibly for good reason. But there's something, because I see intermediates regularly flying scores that I would have been happy to have in advanced.
Yeah,
all the time.
I've seen that too.
Me too.
Yeah, scores have gone up. Scores have definitely gone up. You guys, let me interrupt you guys. We've had a good conversation about the advance, and I'm in it because I am in advance, so I love this topic. But Jeff Riley says scoring is too subjective. Scoring is too subjective to opinion. I believe it's more fun to go out and fly and just surprise some guys.
It is. Well,
cool.
it is subjective.
And I want to continue.
For
sure. Dane Martin, why don't you come on in here? I know that you're really good at monocoding. I think you did do a demo one time. Come on back. And
please, I need some help.
It's 9:03 out here, and we're going to still continue to talk about this, but I'm going to transition into the after party. And this show's viewership was a little bit down. We only had as high as maybe 17 viewers out there, and just a handful of people in the chat box. But we have 17 likes, and that's a pretty good percentage. So, but if you were watching this replay, please know that I host this every Monday and Friday night at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of that so you can watch the live stream, and then you can put in your comments in the chat box on YouTube. And then also, if you're a member of Stunt Hangar, you can find the link to come into the after party, and that goes on. Sometimes they go on till whenever. I can't hang that long, but sometimes the after party is better than the live stream. So I want to thank everybody for showing up. And
hold on, Charles. Charles,
right,
I think Peter wants to show something. He's got his hand up. I think he wants to show something he's working on.
Where's Peter at?
No.
Charles, can you put up the link?
This discussion? I can wait for the after party.
What, Walter?
Can you put up the link? Can you actually put up or show a link to the donations? Last week, the other day, it was a brief part of the conversation, and I was thinking about it over the weekend. Maybe if you showed a link, if somebody ever looked at the playback, they could see the link.
Oh, super chat.
The super chat doesn't show up in the replay. That's why I'm suggesting that those of you who want to, now you did this in the monologue, if you want to help us out, you got to watch the live show, and that's where the donation, the super chat, is available during the live streaming, and that's every Monday and Friday night. And you can do that. Then you can also support us by joining. There's a join button there in the YouTube channel. You see join, and when you join, it's $4.99 a month. That's less than 17 cents a day, and that's a systematic kind of subscription. But if you want to do that, just come and during the live streaming and hit the super chat, the big $sign at the bottom of the chat box, and your donations will be greatly appreciated. We're down as far as donations, and so we definitely would appreciate that. But I don't know of how I could display that link, Walter, to answer your question. It's only available during the live stream. So please make a note of this and come back and donate and come back. And I know Mark Lumen, and there's probably many others out there that really, really enjoy the show and tells. And if we do that, it happens. We didn't have any show and tells per se tonight, I don't think. And but that's just how it went. But we had a really good conversation about advance, about sandbagging. I mean, these are all some of the things I was part of sandbagger when I was an intermediate, and people said I should move up to advanced. And I hung on for a little bit longer, and then I went to advanced. And now I have a comrade in Dennis Nunes who's been urged to go up to expert, and I'm saying please don't go, because I'm planning on stepping it up and bringing it up. I'm planning on beating Dennis. I know he's beatable, and he's admitted he knows he's beatable. It's just in the spirit of competition I want to beat him. I don't want to beat him up, physically, just beat him on the score. So, but anyways, come on back. Today's Monday, so we'll be back here Friday at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And make a note of that so you can donate or you can come and watch and enjoy the show. Hopefully we'll have some show and tells there. No pressure, but maybe someone might bring in a show and tells. Mark's coming in. Anyways, so we're going to end the live stream portion, but we're going to continue on and hopefully have some more spirited conversation about things. Maybe talk about some people too, who we don't want to name their names on the live stream. So maybe we'll have some fun. So until then, we'll see you guys next Friday. Let me get the stop the stream button up here, and here we go.
Bye, Ewans.
Bye, everybody.